Alrighty, here we go. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. I wrote these two books here. One's called The Jossman Method. You can get that every damn where. And oh my god, you can now get Reviving Masculinity any damn where. But I'm still carrying around this thing because I ordered copies for myself and they won't be here till Wednesday. So yeah, next podcast I should have some books, which will be cool. And you can at this point get on Amazon and you can order them. You just type in Reviving Masculinity. Shit, you can Google Reviving Masculinity and it will come up as a book on Amazon. You can get it there. The ebook should be out tomorrow, I think. Some kind of delay with the warehouse or with the wholesaler, but shit, I don't know. I'm not a publisher. I'm just I'm a writer and a podcaster and a researcher and shit like that. So anyway, that's what's going on here. I have been able to do some really cool collabos recently with some individuals from all over the world. I can't even just say all over the country because I'm talking to this girl in San Diego who's really good at what she does with regard to helping men and women understand men better. She does a great job about it. We've been able to collaborate on some things. And there's a guy in British Columbia. His name's Ryan Morrow. I'll talk a little bit more about him later. Same thing. He does a thing called carnal marriage, and he's teaching men how to be better at being married, how to make your wives happier, which is it's great stuff. I mean, we're sharing information. I'm going through his program online, which is free. It's at carnalmarriage.com. If you are looking to be out of a sexless marriage, if you're not getting laid, he's going to give you some tools to make that happen for you. So I recommend it, carnalmarriage.com. And then if you want to follow the Spunky Millennial on YouTube, or I'm sorry, on TikTok, she's still working on her YouTube, but the Spunky Millennial on TikTok, she's awesome. She does some great stuff, and they're working together now, and good stuff. Also, I just got a new shipment of stickers. I had a few of the old ones left. This is what they looked like. Had the YouTube logo at the bottom, but YouTube is a bunch of fucking commies who are total lefties who like to take my videos down if I talk about COVID-19. So the new stickers, they say Spotify at the bottom. So if you order those on the website, you'll get the new ones that have the Spotify logo on instead, which is just fine with me. Because we're on Spotify. Shit, we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Podcast Addict. We're on Stitcher. We're fucking everywhere, which is pretty damn cool. Yeah, that's kind of the state of the movement here. I mean, we opened up at number 310 of all men's gender studies books, and maybe there are only 310 men's gender studies books out there, because there really aren't that many. I'll tell you, for sure there aren't that many that talk about men's gender studies the way I do. This little pad wasn't on my seat. It's a lot more comfortable when it's there. Yeah, I think a lot of them, men's gender studies books, and I'm telling you I know this because I've reached out to these guys. They're talking about how men basically should be more like women. We should redefine manhood and make it basically womanhood. Make everybody the same. And I try to talk to those guys, and there's no academic shit. I talked to this professor. You guys know that. I told you about that. Another Canadian guy. That was probably 3 months ago, recorded an hour and a half with this guy. And nice enough guy, but I mean, he had no research. He had no academic facts at all to support his assertion that men shouldn't act like men anymore. That was his whole deal, and he's a PhD professor. Anyway, 310 out of men's gender studies books right now. I'm actually number 2517 for women's studies books, and there are shit tons of those. So the fact that I'm ranked at all there is pretty amazing. But I think that's good. I think that a lot of the stuff that I talk about in Reviving Masculinity will help women. I mean, no doubt about it. In fact, that's what I want to talk about today. Essentially, if you are a woman and you listen to this show today, I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom. I'm going to give you the, peek behind the curtain, right? Behind, how a man operates. And if you pay attention here, it's going to help you. It's going to make your situation easier to manage, and, dealing with men will cease to be such a mystery. So here we go. I want to talk about the adjustability of men, how we are able to be adjusted. And I'll start by, we'll talk about in our youth, okay? Like as a coach, I coached several sports throughout my teaching career, and after there was a term that we could use to describe an athlete that carried with it very high praise, and that term was coachable. And when you call a kid coachable, what that means is it means several things. It means a chain of events. It means that when you are doing a thing that we want you to not do, or when you're not doing a thing that we want you to do, whatever it is, when I come to you and say, as your coach, I would like you to make this adjustment. Okay, I would like you to step with the other foot, or let's move around this way, or block this way, or wait a half a second, or whatever it is, whatever the adjustment is that I'm making. Okay, when I ask you to make that judgment, and number one, you listen to me, and I can tell by the way you're nodding, maybe you're paraphrasing back, you're a good listener. I believe that you've understood what I've told you. Okay, that's step one. Step two then is I see the actions reflected out on the field or on the court or wherever you are, wherever it is. I see that you've made the changes. First of all, I understand that you hear my words, and then I see that you've made the changes, and preferably the last step is that those changes are somewhat permanent. They're moving their way towards permanence, right? Where you might forget sometimes, but you go back to it. You're conscious of it. My words to you, my adjustment, my time doesn't just fall away. Like I tell you those things, and then you make the adjustments. The kids that can do that, and the final step is that you appreciate that, and you go, yeah, you're right, coach. Holy shit. It's totally better. You know what I mean? Or we see it in film, and he can go, you're right, man, it worked. So that whole chain of events, a kid that can do that chain of events well, we call him coachable. Okay, and I'm going to keep saying male pronouns because I basically only coached boys. I think I had 2 seasons of girls that didn't go well. I'm just not that. It's a different style, and it just wasn't me. So coachability, again, high praise from a coach to an athlete. In a classroom, you would say that kid is teachable, and it's the same concept. It's the same idea, like, hey, I'm going to give you these ideas, and my style jives with yours, and you get better as a result, right? You get smarter. Your grades are better. Your quiz grades are better, whatever it might be, right? That's a very positive thing, and I think it's very central to men. Certainly it is to men. I'm going to tell you this. What that becomes as you grow up, I mean, it's very simple as a kid, this concept, and I'm going to tell you this is how men work, okay? We run on praise. Praise is our fuel. We will seek it wherever we can find it. And it's not just a right now thing. This is historical. You look back as far as humankind has gone, men have sought praise, and they've done that in a million different ways. And I'm going to be honest, I'm stealing this from Dr. Warren Farrell, the guy who wrote The Boy Crisis and The Myth of Male Power. Interesting guy, great research. He extrapolates it in a different way. He applies it in a different way, I should say. And he has this, he's got this agenda of trying to get men away from what he calls the death professions. Like, men shouldn't be wanting to be in construction or driving big trucks or playing football because it's so dangerous. But, my answer to that then is, well, who's going to do it then? You know what I mean? Who's going to drive those ice road trucks? Anyway, so that's praise for sure. Let's look back to Native Americans, right? When you're a young man, what's the highest honor? It's to be a brave, to be a warrior, to be thought of as courageous and not unafraid, able to count coup or to do all these other things that are usually pretty fucking dangerous. But they carry with them praise. They carry with them the ability to have people pat you on the back for it, or for you to feel good about it yourself. And that's let's look at World War II here in the United States. Men went off and fought in war. I mean, wars have been like that forever. But hey, I can go become a war hero and be respected by other men. I can lead. I can be, again, looked up to, respected. It's a big deal. I was talking to my friend Sarah. She's the one who is in San Diego. She's the spunky millennial. And I told her that, or she brought it up. She's like, I read this report about how, men would rather be respected than loved. If they had to pick one, like they would rather be respected. I'm like, Yeah. And that blew her mind. You know what I mean? And for her, that's great knowledge because it's going to help her to understand men, which is going to help her to teach others to understand men. So that's good shit, but that's true. I mean, a man would very much rather be respected than loved. If he had to pick. I mean, you want both, right? But to have people respect you, it's a big deal. You know, you think about your work situation. It doesn't necessarily have to be your romantic relationship. Think about when you're at work. Do you want people to love you? Or do you want them to respect you for being fucking good at what you do and being valuable and being a resource and being a good leader, whatever it is that you're doing? You want to be the best at it because that respect fucking feels good. It's praise. Respect is a form of praise. And men will follow that. That's why we work really hard to make a shit ton of money and have a big fancy car because people are like, whoa, look at that shit. Nice car, bro. Or nice bike or whatever it is. Or, man, your house is beautiful. I mean, those words to us and the feelings that are behind them for the people who are sharing them, they're like gold. They're invaluable. And it's this. We follow praise because it's how we were taught. I mean, when you're a kid, let's go back to being a kid. You get praise for doing it right. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Right? You want to do that again because you love hearing it. You want to love hearing good boy. You know, good job. And what do you hate hearing? I'm disappointed in you. Right? I mean, that's like the worst thing my dad could ever say to me. I'm disappointed in you. That was way worse than getting a spanking. Who gives a shit? Spanking will heal, but that's an emotional scar, man. I'm disappointed in you. Because that's all you ever want is for him to love you and respect you ultimately and admire your progress and be proud of you. You know, that's what you want from your dad. And that's where it starts. Your dad's teaching you that blueprint of, you know, these are how males interact. These are the things that are going to be valuable to you, so you should seek them. And so that's where you are as an adult. You are as an adult male, and I don't think that ends. You seek praise. You go towards the things that bring you validation, the good jobs, the money, the shiny vehicles, the people who are going to respect you and admire you. You're going to be around friends who respect you and trust you, and you trust them. That's part of that thing, and your life will go that way. And the things where you're being punished, even if it's slight, well, you'll avoid it. You know, very simply, you know, nobody wants to get punished when they're a kid. Right? And you don't want to get punished when you're an adult either. I mean, let's think about the different environments of your life as a man. You go to work, and your boss comes down on you for parking in the wrong spot or something, especially if it's kind of a public embarrassment. You know, if everybody else there saw you park there and you didn't know, and everybody knows you're about to get your ass chewed, well, fuck, you're not going to park there again. Because you don't want that punishment, you know, that shame, that negative. So you'll steer clear of that, literally in that case. And you will seek the praise, where if you are, you know, parking is a simple example, but maybe you park way out back, furthest parking spot away, and everybody knows that's your car. They're like, wow, that guy, you know, he doesn't mind walking a little bit extra distance. He leaves the other spots open for other people. He likes to take care of his car, doesn't want door dings. I mean, that comes with some praise too. So your life goes that way. Like, you're steered for sure by, you know, praise and punishment. That's how you find your way in the world. And I would tell you that the military is that way for sure. They will very directly and very strictly change your behavior in a certain direction. Okay? Your personality now, that's a different thing. Okay? Because with the exception of going to war or being locked in somebody's basement and having the shit kicked out of you and anally raped or some shit, your personality is probably not going to ever change. It is what it is. But your behaviors, they will change, and they will change as a result of whatever environment you're in. And it might be as simple as, well, I have to act and talk a certain way when I'm at work. That's me adjusting to that environment. And maybe I know I can be very different with my boys at the bar on Friday night, or with my family. I'm maybe even a little bit different way, or in church on Sunday morning, or wherever you go. Everybody knows that. You have different expectations for different parts of your life, but that's how you figure out what those expectations are. What do you get rewarded for? What do you get praised for? And what do you get punished for? Right? You probably don't drop a lot of F-bombs around your mom because she probably lit you up every time you did it. Right? So, you know, you can't do that. But with your buddies, a strategic F-bomb can add a lot of humor. And so you get laughed at. And so you learn how to do that, right? That's how you work. That's how men are socially created. All right. We don't come out of nowhere. We have to be built. Manhood is very conscious. It doesn't just happen on accident. Girls become women biologically. I talk about that all the time. You're going to want to just hold that baby. You're going to get to an age where you want to have kids at all. Men, like, they've got to see other men doing it right. I talk about that all the time. I mean, I have been very clear about that the fact that 40% of children born in the U.S. are born to a single mom right now. 40%. That means 40% of men don't have a dad at home. And they're going to be raised by a woman. They're going to go to a school that's primarily women. And so they're not going to have that role model there. They're not going to have that man teaching them what it is to be a man. Because that's, again, it's very conscious. It's a thing that must be taught, and it's a thing that must be learned. You have to be coachable and able to absorb that information, or you're not going to go down that road. You won't just naturally become acting like a man. Your behavior won't become that of a man. You'll physically become one, right? That's going to happen. That's genetics. And you can help that by, working out, eating right, all that stuff. You'll become more of a man. But the behaviors, those absolutely have to be taught. You won't naturally do it because, again, without the praise, you won't go do the thing. So, there's got to be a man there praising you to do it right, and there's got to be a man there punishing you for doing it wrong. So, military is going to be like that. They're going to be very specific, and you guys, all of you have met people who went to the military, and they came back behaving differently, making their bed, shaving their face, doing these different things, because those things were praised when you did them right, and they were punished when you did them wrong. Okay? So people change when they go into the military. It's a very specific environment that will change your behaviors. I think, some jobs are that way. Schools are that way. Like I said, I think that I've said this over and over again. I think that schools are, probably without realizing it, they are crushing boyhood and thus manhood. It's getting deleted. It's a thing that no longer, boyish things don't get praised anymore. In fact, they get punished. And so it leads to boys who come out not being very confused. Hey, this is what I naturally would like to do. These are the things that I'm interested in. But everybody around me, my mom and my female teachers, all tell me that those aren't okay. Whether it's trucks or I like shooting, rubber band guns or things that explode, little bang zips or fireworks or whatever it is that you like as a little boy that women think are dangerous or whatever. And you can't, you see what I'm saying? So that environment can change your behavior. Who you are as a person, it doesn't change. You are who you are. Okay, and I would tell you this, that, I'm going to skip that. I'll come back to it. You've heard this phrase before: behind every great man is a great woman. Okay? It's fucking true, all right? It's this idea that you as a man, your environment certainly includes the woman that you've chosen. And if you've chosen a woman who is very supportive and pushes you and encourages you to get better and does that positively and does that strategically and uses her punishment wisely and sparingly and uses her encouragement liberally and just as prescriptively, well, you're going to develop and you're going to find this route. I mean, I've said this before. I was with a good woman, and I wanted to start my business, and she was like, "Go for it, do it. You can do it." And so I went and did it, and it's been successful, and it's supported me for the last 5-6 years. Business is around, she's not. But if she had, because she was my partner, told me not to, well, then I probably wouldn't have done it. Because I respect her, and I love her, and I don't want her to not like what I'm doing. We're a team here. We got to both agree, right? So that's where the good woman thing comes in. You got to have somebody who's going to push you. And I would tell you that behind every shitty man, probably a shitty woman back there somewhere. It's true. I mean, because if you're not smart about where you're placing your praise and if you're placing it at all, and if you're not smart about where you're placing your negative comments and your criticisms, well, then you're going to steer him in the wrong direction, and he's not going to become what he can be. And in a lot of cases, he's going to become resentful and terrible and awful. I have this conversation so fucking regularly. And it goes like this. A woman, I'll do something on social media, and a woman will comment, well, that'd be great if my husband wasn't, or my ex wasn't abusive, or whatever it was. And I always say the same thing. This is just a side note, but, oh, he was hitting you? And the answer, only once has someone said yes. They always say the same thing. No, he was emotionally abusive. I'm like, oh, okay. So what I hear when you say that is, he just did things you didn't like. And so I'll say, well, okay, I'll just play along, and I'll think that, but I won't say it. So I'll just play along, and I'll go, oh man, that sucks. I'm so sorry that happened. Well, why'd you pick a man like that? Why'd you choose a man who's emotionally abusive? And you already know the answer. You know what they say. They say, oh, he wasn't like that at first. He changed. And sometimes if I'm really feel like twisting the fucking knife, I'll say something like, well, did he go to war? Did he get abducted? Was he human trafficked? Did something like that happen? And it changed his whole fucking persona, his whole demeanor. Did he have a traumatic brain injury? Did he have a frontal lobectomy? A lobotomy? What happened to him? No, he just started acting differently. Okay, what you don't realize you just said to me there, single mom usually, what you don't realize you just said to me is this. His environment, which is primarily you, was one that pushed him in a direction that made him a thing that you don't like. Okay? Now, I'm not blaming you, because he was choosing to be there, and he was choosing to do all the things he did. But own your fucking shit. You're a big part of his environment, and that's actually really fucking good news. That's where I get into the thing, like I said, behind every great man is a great woman. You got the opportunity to push and move him along and do it nicely. Do it supportively. Don't be like, you're worthless, get moving. You got to be like, and Sarah talks about this too. Hey, I believe in you. I believe in you. You can do this. This is something you got. You got this. I got your back. I believe in you, so you can believe in yourself. When you do it that way, you push them in the right direction. I'll give you another example. I got a buddy named Mike. He's a Catholic priest. No, I'm not starting a joke, but he told me a joke, and he says this. He says, Travis, when a woman comes to the church the day of her wedding, right? She walks into the church, and the first thing she sees is the aisle out in front of her, right? And then she looks up and she sees the altar. And she looks over and she sees him. And that's what she's thinking. I'll alter him. Right? And Mike, with his dry sense of humor, man, he thought that he just gives this chuckle, and his delivery made me laugh my ass off. But it's fucking true, all right? So women, yeah, you're known for wanting to try to change your men. And in a bad case, you're picking the wrong you're picking the bad boy, and you're trying to make him into a husband, which usually that's the wrong move. And men don't do this as much, but there's the phrase, you can't make a hoe into a housewife. Don't try. I mean, a person's personality is who they are. And if you could see that, not who you want their personality to be, not what you think is buried way down deep in there, but really what's their personality, what's their core. If that's good, then you can change behaviors, okay? That's what you can change. You can, if you do it right, if you're prescriptive about what you do, well, then you can make those adjustments. You can change people's behaviors. And it isn't just relationships. I don't want to put this all just on relationships, but I'll give you this other example. You've heard this 1,000 times. A person is the product of their 5 closest friends. Well, why do you think that is? I'll tell you it's true. Why do you think that is? Because if they're your closest friends, you respect them. Their opinion means something to you. You want to please them, make them happy, I suppose. Them disapproving of you is not a pleasant feeling, at least. I mean, at the very least, right? And so those little things, the things that you talk about, the things that you think about, they're going to be where you're defining your normal. That's where you're going to be figuring out your punishments and what are your friends going to be impressed by? We're probably going to do that. What are your friends going to be like, dude, that was a fucking bad move. You probably won't do that thing, all right? Because sometimes, yeah, you need that outside perspective. I mean, shit, you can spend your whole life trying to figure out what's wrong with you, and I can talk to you sit next to you at a bar for 30 seconds, 5 minutes, and somebody can kind of figure out what your major malfunction is, right? So you need those other people. You need that other perspective. So it is important what your friends and the closest people do you think. It really is. Because they're going to, as you get older, they're going to become your praise and your punishment. Now they're much smaller, but you can still pick up on it, and it helps you guide your way through your life. My buddy Jason reached out to me, and he had this situation with his kids, and and it involved, coaching, high school coaching, and I gave him my opinion and gave him some insight into the coaches, and it helped him. You know what I mean? And I came to him with asked him for some advice this afternoon when I saw him, and he helped me out. He guided me a little bit, and that helped, right? So it's the behaviors, though, okay? You can change behaviors, all right? Behaviors can change. So really think that through. If you are, like I said, with men, if you're a woman and you're with a man and he's doing some shit you don't like, how are you engaging with him? How are you giving him positive feedback? How are you giving him negative feedback? Are you very careful and cautious and specific and prescriptive about how you do that? I watched this little video from this woman, and I asked, as a result of this video on TikTok, I asked her to maybe be on the show. And she's a therapist, and she talks almost all about codependency, which I'm a little interested in that, but not a whole lot. I saw this video anyway. So there's this guy, and he's very, diligently doing these dishes, right? Doing them by hand. And he's got a towel on the counter, and every time he cleans a glass, he sits it down, and then he does another one. And the wife comes in just lighting him up about how he's supposed to turn the cups upside down, right? And then a little later, he's sweeping the floor, and same thing. She comes over and tells him you're supposed to turn the broom this way, and she's being a real dick about it, right? And her whole point was, great point. It's a very good point. You need to see the forest through the trees here, for the trees, and that's this. He's doing a thing just strictly to help you out, right? In both of those cases, probably, right? He's probably doing that shit to help you out. It'd be the equivalent of you're outside changing the oil in his truck, right? You'd be doing that to help him. You really don't give a fuck, but you're doing that to help him. And that's kind of where he comes out with dishes and cleaning and shit like that usually, right? So he's doing a thing to help you. And if the only thing you see in it is negative, right? If he has no potential for praise in this thing, if all there is negative feedback, well, he's probably going to put the fucking dishes down, leave the water running and everything, walk into the fucking living room, crack a beer, and turn on the game and ignore the fuck out of you. That's probably what's going to happen. That's you using your powers, ladies, really unwisely, okay? You need to see he's helping. He's helping. So maybe you open up that way. Again, this is what Sarah says. It depends on how you address it. If you really are concerned about the cups, you walk up behind him and be like, hey, baby, turn him upside down, would you? Kiss him on the neck, squeeze his ass, and move on, right? And he'll be like, all right, cool. I got a little attention from her. This is working, right? So you got what you wanted. The glasses are upside down, and he got what he wanted. He got some praise, right? That's how you do it. I mean, that's how you manage a man. I mean, fairly simple concept, right? And here's another thing. Once you get that nailed down, once you can look at the big things, oh, he's helping me, so I cannot punish him for that. Once you figure that out, you need to know this. If you're going to do that, if you're going to consciously be aware of how you manage that, you can't tell him. You can't say, hey, I really wanted to come and light you up because you were putting the cups down wrong, but I saw this thing that said that I'm supposed to do it this way, so that's why I did it that way. If you do that, you just blew up the whole thing. You made it all go away. All that praise, everything, that didn't work. Because really what you were doing there is you were looking for praise from him. Look at me, I did it right. Yeah, don't do that. It's a secret that you get to keep. It's the best love you can give, is to help guide him, help make him better. When I talked to Alexi Turner, and that was, I don't know, at least a month ago, she specifically said that. She said, the last few men I've been with, she said, they've all tripled their income. You think that was on accident? No, it was because she was there supporting them, going, nope, do this. And it's not that, she is a real sharp girl, but she was supporting him and pushing him in the right direction, these guys, right? And being cautious with her punishment, and being liberal with her praise, and being smart and being prescriptive about all of it. That's how that works. Again, she's turning them into great men, and behind him, a great woman, right? That's how that works. Yeah, and I would tell you to keep that a secret the same way I tell men to keep this secret. And if you want guidance as a man, I said earlier, if you want to be better at being a man, and maybe you're because this is Ryan's thing, he talks about ending sexless marriages. He talks about how to make your marriage carnal, back to where you're just animals wanting to fuck each other all the time, which is a big complaint men have. And Anyway, he's got an awesome program at carnalmarriage.com where you can work through his whole system for free. He's got all the classes, all the modules. I forgot what he calls them, but they're free. You can go on there and learn all of his wisdom for free. And he's very accessible. He's a guy who's going to give you a method to get a hold of him if you want more advice, and he'll help you. Okay? You go on there and you learn how to be a great man. And Ryan and I had this conversation about that, and we both agreed. And he says this in the system too. He's like, you can't tell her that you're making these changes. You just have to do them. You just have to make the changes. And I liken that to this. You know, say your wife put on a whole lot of weight when she was pregnant. Do you want her to tell you that she's working out again or she's watching what she eats? Or do you want her do you want to see the effects of it? Do you want to see her body changing? Which one do you want, right? Don't tell him. You know, you can't tell your man that you're doing these things. Just do it. Just do them. Just do the results. Give them the results. It's the same thing for men. I tell them, hey, if you're going to make these changes in your relationship, if you want to be better for her, you can't tell her because that's going to delete all the romance. It's going to drain it all right out, right? You can't let her peek behind the curtains. You just have to give her the results. Anyway, that's what I think is the adjustability of men. I think it's a great piece of information for women to know about how men work. It is universal. Know this, that like anything else, if you fucking try it once and then throw your hands up, that didn't work, well then that's on you. You're just fucking lazy. You don't have any discipline. Get your shit together. Okay? You've got to make changes that you can maintain for 99 years. And so therefore, make small changes. Okay? Ones that you can maintain, and maybe you can build on them as you go a little bit. Don't just change it all at once and hope it's going to stick. Make small changes. Improve your life. Be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. That's Adjustability of Men. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. We are still available on fucking YouTube. Where is it? Right there. But we are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Look forward in the future to, we've got some great guests coming up. I'm going to talk to Ryan Morrow. You're going to see my first conversation with him. You're going to see my conversation with, who else did I talk to? Some pretty impressive people. I talked to Ryan. Who else did I talk to? You saw Matt Stevens. He was awesome. I've got another one. The divorce attorney or the divorce coach. I haven't released that episode yet. That's coming up. I've got a bunch more solo episodes. Look for some again, collaborations between myself and Sarah and Ryan. I think we're going to go great places because we're all trying to do the same thing with our different styles. So I'm pumped about that. But fucking, you know what? I've been putting out these shows for, a year and 3 or 4 months now, right? And I don't make any money at this, okay? I do this shit for free. And for me, it's a creative outlet, and that's fun. But, man, it'd be nice to make a little bit of money on this. So if you enjoy my shit, please go to Amazon and buy my book, okay? Get in it, fucking buy them both. Google the Jossman Method. It'll come up. You can buy it. Google Reviving Masculinity. Buy that fucking book. And when you're done reading it, go in there and put in a review on Amazon. Give me a fucking 5-star. Tell me you love my show. Tell me you love my book. That's all I ask. I give this shit to you for free every week. Please get out there and buy my books. It's the only way I make any money. I don't have any sponsors. I pay for all my banners and stickers and t-shirts and all that shit. It's all, I pay for it all. And shit, if you call me, anybody who's listening to this, you know that if you've ever had a meaningful conversation with me about something, I'll get your address, send you a t-shirt for free. Some stickers, a book, whatever. I'm giving a lot. Give back. Buy my fucking book. Please. Put a lot of work in that shit. All right. I hope some way today's show helped you to get your shit together. Have a great week.